Hello, friends. I want to tell you about two neighbors. Let's call them Robert and Donald. Same town, same street, same age, both 67. They both worked for 40 years. Both paid into Social Security their entire careers. Both retired within 6 months of each other. Robert gets a Social Security check every month for $2,140. Donald gets a check for $3,420. Same birth year, same number of years worked, same lifetime earnings, almost to the dollar. $1,280 difference. Every single month. $15,360 a year for the rest of their lives. Robert does not understand why his check is smaller. He assumed Social Security was straightforward. You work, you pay in, you collect what you earned. What Robert does not know, what most people never find out, is that Social Security has more than 50 different variables that affect your final benefit. And the decisions made in the 5 years before retirement, many of them irreversible, determine which side of that gap you end up on. My name is Linda Marsh. I have spent 13 years as a certified financial counselor working exclusively with retirees. And the conversation I have most often, the one people most wish they had heard earlier, is this one. Today I am going to show you exactly what creates that gap, the specific decisions, the specific mistakes, and the specific strategies that determine whether you end up with Robert's check or Donald's check. Some of what I am going to tell you can still be changed, even if you are already receiving benefits. Some of it cannot. All of it is information you deserve to have. Let us start from the beginning. Most people have a general sense of how Social Security works. You work, you pay taxes, you earn credits, and when you retire, you receive a monthly benefit. What most people do not know is the specific math behind that benefit, because the math is what creates the gap. Social Security does not simply average your lifetime earnings and pay you a percentage. The calculation is more precise than that. First, Social Security takes your 35 highest earning years, not your career total, not your average, your best 35 years specifically. If you worked for 40 years, your 5 lowest earning years are dropped entirely. If you worked for only 30 years, Social Security fills in the missing 5 years with zeros, which pulls your average down significantly. This is the first place the gap starts to open. Someone who worked steadily for 40 years and someone who took 5 years out of the workforce to raise children, care for a parent, deal with an illness, can have nearly identical lifetime earnings, but meaningfully different Social Security benefits, simply because of how the 35-year calculation works. After selecting your 35 best years, Social Security adjusts each year's earnings for inflation. This brings older earnings up to current dollar values, so that money you earned in 1988 is not compared directly to money you earned in 2018. The result of this calculation is called your AIME, your Average Indexed Monthly Earnings. This is the number that everything else is built on. Once Social Security has your AIME, it applies what are called bend points to calculate your primary insurance amount, the benefit you receive if you claim at exactly your full retirement age. In 2026, the formula works like this. Social Security replaces 90% of the first $1,226 of your AIM. It replaces 32% of your AIM between $1,226 and $7,391. And it replaces 15% of any AIM above $7,391. This is a progressive formula. Lower earners receive a higher percentage of their earnings replaced. Higher earners receive a lower percentage, but a larger absolute amount. What this means practically is that the benefit gap between a medium earner and a high earner is not as large as the gap in their lifetime wages would suggest. But the gap between someone who claimed at the right time using the right strategies and someone who did not, that gap can be enormous. And that is what we are going to spend the rest of this video on. The single most powerful variable in your Social Security benefit is not your salary. It is not how many years you worked. It is not even how much you paid in taxes. It is when you claim. You can claim Social Security as early as age 62. You can delay as late as age 70. And the difference between those two extremes for someone with an average benefit is roughly 77% of your monthly check. Let me make that concrete. If your full retirement age benefit is $2,000 per month, here is what claiming at different ages does to that number. Claim at 62. You receive approximately $1,400 per month, a 30% permanent reduction. Claim at your full retirement age of 67. You receive the full $2,000. Delay to 70. You receive $2,480 per month, a 24% permanent increase. That is a difference of $1,080 per month between claiming at 62 and claiming at 70. $12,960 per year for the rest of your life, and for your surviving spouse for the rest of their life after you are gone. I hear the same question every time I present these numbers. If I wait until 70, I am giving up 8 years of checks. How long does it take to break even? The math is straightforward. If you would receive $1,400 per month at 62 and $2,480 at 70, you are giving up approximately $134,000 in payments between age 62 and age 70. But at 70, your monthly check is $1,080 higher. At that rate, you recover the foregone payments in approximately 10 years and 4 months. That means if you live past age 80 and 4 months, delaying to 70 produces more total lifetime income than claiming at 62. The average American who reaches 62 today can expect to live to approximately 82. The average woman who reaches 62 today can expect to live to approximately 85. For most people, the break-even math favors delay, especially for the higher earner in a married couple, where the benefit also becomes the survivor benefit. I want to be honest about this because it is not always wrong to claim early. If you have a serious health condition and a realistic life expectancy that is significantly below average, the break-even calculation changes. Claiming early may produce more total lifetime income in your specific situation. If you have no other income source and genuinely cannot cover your basic expenses without starting Social Security, claiming early may be necessary regardless of the long-term math. But here is what I observe in my practice. The majority of people who claim at 62 do not do so because of careful break-even analysis. They do so because they can. Because reaching 62 feels like a finish line. Because the check is available and the alternative, waiting, feels abstract. That is not a financial decision. That is an emotional one. And it costs most of the people who make it tens of thousands of dollars over their retirement. Here is something that will surprise most of you. The Social Security Administration processes hundreds of millions of earnings records, and those records contain errors. According to the Social Security Administration's own reports, a meaningful percentage of workers' earnings records contain at least 1 year where earnings were recorded incorrectly, either too low or missing entirely. When your benefit is calculated on 35 years of earnings, a single missing year can reduce your benefit by hundreds of dollars per month. A missing year is filled with a zero. A zero pulls your average down. A lower average produces a lower benefit, permanently. The Social Security Administration maintains an online account called My Social Security, available at ssa.gov. Creating an account takes approximately 15 minutes. Once you have access, you can view your complete earnings record. Every year of wages going back to your first year of covered work. Go through that record year by year and compare it to your own records, your tax returns, your W-2 forms, your pay stubs if you have them. What you are looking for is any year where the amount Social Security has on file is lower than what you actually earned, or any year that shows zero when you know you were working. If you find a discrepancy, you can request a correction. You will need documentation. W-2 forms are ideal, but tax returns or pay stubs can also be used. I had a client named Margaret from outside of Phoenix, Arizona. She was 64 and planning to claim Social Security the following year. When we reviewed her earnings record together, we found that a full 2-year period in her mid-40s showed earnings of zero. She had the W-2 forms in a box in her garage. We submitted them. Social Security corrected the record. Her projected benefit increased by $162 per month. That is $1,944 per year for the rest of her life, found in a cardboard box. Check your record before you claim. For married couples, Social Security is not one benefit calculation. It is a household strategy with multiple moving pieces. And the way most couples approach it, each person claims independently without coordinating timing, leaves a significant amount of money on the table. If you are married, you may be entitled to a spousal benefit based on your spouse's earnings record rather than your own. The spousal benefit allows you to receive up to 50% of your spouse's full retirement age benefit, regardless of what your own benefit would be. To receive the maximum spousal benefit, two conditions must be met. First, your spouse must already be receiving their Social Security benefit. Second, you must have reached your own full retirement age. For couples where both spouses have meaningful earnings records, the most common optimal strategy works like this. The lower earning spouse claims their own benefit first, at or near their full retirement age. The higher earning spouse delays as long as possible, ideally to age 70, to maximize their benefit. This serves two purposes. First, the household has income coming in while the higher benefit is still growing. Second, and critically, the higher earner's benefit becomes the survivor benefit. When one spouse dies, the surviving spouse receives the higher of the two benefits. This means the higher earning spouse's decision about when to claim directly determines what the surviving spouse receives for potentially decades after the higher earner is gone. Maximizing the higher earner's benefit is an act of financial protection for the surviving spouse. If your spouse has already passed away, the survivor benefit rules create a specific opportunity that most people never take advantage of. As a surviving spouse, you are entitled to receive the higher of two benefits: your own retirement benefit based on your own record, or the survivor benefit based on your late spouse's record. What most people do not know is that you do not have to claim both at the same time. You can claim one while allowing the other to grow. I had a client named Patricia from outside of Nashville, Tennessee. She was 63, widowed at 60, and had never claimed any Social Security benefit. She assumed she would simply wait until 67 and claim her own benefit. When we looked at her late husband's record, his primary insurance amount was $3,100 per month. Her own benefit at 70 would be approximately $1,800. The optimal strategy was to claim the survivor benefit at 63. A reduced amount, approximately $2,140 per month. Allow her own benefit to grow to 70, then compare the two amounts again. The survivor benefit remained higher. She continued receiving it, but the act of claiming it at 63 rather than waiting until 67 meant she received $2,140 per month for 4 additional years. Over $102,000 she would not have received under her original plan. On January 5, 2025, a law was signed that permanently changed Social Security for millions of Americans, and most of them still do not know about it. The Social Security Fairness Act eliminated 2 provisions that had been reducing or eliminating benefits for people who worked in jobs not covered by Social Security, primarily public sector jobs: teachers, firefighters, police officers, federal employees, state and local government workers in certain states. Both of those provisions are now gone. If you received a pension from a non-covered job and you are currently receiving Social Security benefits, the Social Security Administration was required to recalculate your payment and pay the difference retroactively to January of 2024. If you are a widow or widower who received a government pension and never filed for a survivor benefit because of the offset, you need to call the Social Security Administration this week. The number is 1-800-772-1213. Ask specifically about your eligibility for a spousal or survivor benefit under the Social Security Fairness Act. For some people in this situation, the monthly benefit that was previously $0 is now several hundred to over $1,000 per month. With retroactive payments back to January 2024, there is one more thing I want to cover before we close. Medicare Part B premiums are not fixed for everyone. They are based on your income from 2 years prior. The standard Medicare Part B premium in 2026 is $185 per month. But if your income 2 years ago exceeded certain thresholds, you pay a surcharge called IRMAA. That surcharge can add between $81 and $487 per month to your Medicare premium. For a couple, those amounts double. Here is the fix. The Social Security Administration allows you to request a recalculation of your Medicare premium if you have experienced a qualifying life event that reduced your income. Retirement is specifically listed as a qualifying event. The form is SSA 44. It is available at ssa.gov. You complete it, attach documentation of your retirement date and your current income estimate, and submit it to Social Security. For someone paying the maximum surcharge, this form can save nearly $6,000 per year in Medicare premiums alone. It takes approximately 30 minutes to complete. If you retired in the past 2 years and your Medicare premium seems higher than the standard amount, this is the first thing you should do this week. Let me close by bringing Robert and Donald back. The gap between their checks, $1,280 per month, was not created by luck. It was not created by one big decision. It was created by a series of smaller decisions, most of them made in the 5 years before retirement, many of them made without full information. Donald checked his earnings record 3 years before he retired and found a missing year. He corrected it. Donald's wife claimed her spousal benefit at 67, while Donald delayed to 70. That coordination maximized the survivor benefit she will receive if he dies first. Donald wait until 70. That alone added $480 per month compared to claiming at his full retirement age. Robert did none of these things, not because he is less intelligent or less careful than Donald, because nobody told him these decisions existed. Here is your complete action list. Number 1. Create your My Social Security account at ssa.gov and review your earnings record year by year. Number 2. If you have not yet claimed and you are between 62 and 70, calculate the break-even on delaying. Every year of delay past your full retirement age adds 8% permanently. Number 3. If you are married, coordinate your claiming strategy as a household. The higher earner's decision affects what the surviving spouse receives for life. Number 4. If you are widowed and have not yet claimed, run the comparison between your own benefit and the survivor benefit before making any decision. Number 5. If you worked in a public sector job with a pension and you never applied for a spousal or survivor benefit because of the government pension offset, call Social Security this week about your eligibility under the Fairness Act. Number 6. If you retired in the past 2 years and your Medicare premium includes a surcharge, file Form SSA 44 to recalculate your premium based on your current income. All of this information is public. All of these forms are free, and every one of these actions has the potential to permanently increase what you receive for the rest of your life. The gap between Robert and Donald was not inevitable. It was informational. Now you have the information. If this video helped you, please leave a comment below telling me which of these strategies you are going to look into first. It genuinely helps other people find what is most relevant for them. I will see you in the next one.